BYD just built a pickup that hits 0 to 100 in 5.7 seconds, covers 100 kilometers on pure electricity, and keeps going past 800 more in hybrid mode. This is the BYD Shark 6, the new hybrid pickup truck that will change everything. The look. The Shark 6 doesn't show up looking like it's trying to impress anyone, it shows up looking like it already knows it has. Up front, there's a wide sculpted fascia with ultra-slim LED headlights stretching across the nose like a high-tech visor, and the grille is bold and partially closed, which isn't just there to look aggressive. It's actively managing airflow for the hybrid system running underneath it. The front bumper integrates skid plate styling and functional air channels, and the hood carries sculpted lines that hint at exactly what's happening beneath them. This thing communicates capability before you've even touched a door handle. From the side, the proportions are exactly right. Long wheelbase, high ground clearance, flared wheel arches filled out with large alloy wheels, and a clean, uninterrupted shoulder line running from the front fenders straight to the tail lights. Black protective cladding wraps the lower body for real off-road use, and the overall silhouette carries a subtle fastback quality that makes it look more athletic than most pickups from this angle without ever compromising the utility stance. At the rear, a full-width LED strip makes the Shark instantly recognizable in traffic at night. The tailgate is clean and functional. The bumper has integrated steps for bed access, and the cargo area looks designed for actual work rather than lifestyle photography. Park this next to a Hilux or a Ranger, and one of them looks like it arrived from 5 years in the future. The other one is the Hilux, and if the design already has you, wait until you hear what's waiting on the other side of the door. Step inside. You open the door expecting truck vibes, hard plastics, and a dashboard that peaked sometime in the previous decade. Instead, you get soft touch surfaces, contrast-stitched upholstery, metallic accents, and a cabin that immediately makes you reconsider every truck you've looked at above this price. The seats are wide, supportive, and built for long hours, whether you're starting early on a job site or 3 hours into a family road trip with someone already asking about the next stop. Rear passengers aren't forgotten either. The wheelbase is long enough that 2 adults sit back there for hours without suffering, with rear vents, USB-C ports, and proper storage pockets making the back row somewhere people will actually want to be. Material quality is the part that quietly embarrasses the competition. Everything aligns, nothing rattles, the seams match. Ambient lighting with adjustable color options, dual-zone climate control, wireless charging, and a premium sound system come standard. Features you'd normally tick off an options list on a $60,000 vehicle, ventilated seats, driver profiles, heated rear seats, and upper trims show up here without negotiation. It doesn't feel like a cheap truck that looks good for the price. It just feels expensive. And that feeling only gets stronger once you see what that central screen is doing. The screen that moves. Here's a feature you describe to someone and they immediately assume you're exaggerating. The rotating touchscreen physically pivots toward the driver the moment the door opens, like the truck is turning to face you. It sounds like a party trick until you actually use it, and then everything with a fixed screen starts to feel like it wasn't finished properly. That screen handles everything: climate, navigation, entertainment, terrain modes, and over-the-air update settings, all swung naturally toward you without reaching across the center console or squinting at an awkward angle. Higher trims add a heads-up display with partial AR overlays projected onto the windshield, and voice control manages most inputs so you rarely need to reach for anything at all. But the over-the-air update system is what really shifts the conversation. This truck doesn't freeze in time the day you drive it off the lot. The software evolves, safety features get refined, and new capabilities arrive automatically without a dealer visit. Ford and Toyota aren't doing that at this price. Some aren't doing it at any price. BYD is doing it as standard on a truck that already has more built-in than most competitors offer as paid upgrades. The Shark 6 gets smarter after you own it, which is a genuinely dangerous thing to be able to say about a vehicle at this price point. Now, if the interior had you, the powertrain is about to finish the job completely. The powertrain. Under the hood is a 1.5-liter turbocharged engine working alongside dual electric motors on BYD's DMI hybrid system. And the important thing to understand here is that the electric motors handle the primary drive, not the petrol engine. The electric motors. That means the moment you press the throttle, you get instant torque. No spooling, no gear hunting, no waiting for revs to arrive, just immediate linear pull from a dead stop. Combined output is 436 horsepower and 650 50 Newton-meters of torque, 0 to 100 in 5.7 seconds, in a pickup truck with a full cabin and a working cargo bed. That's quicker than most SUVs sitting comfortably above this price bracket. And any diesel Ranger or Hilux owner watching this doesn't have an honest counter to those numbers. The 29.5 kilowatt-hour battery delivers up to 100 kilometers of pure electric range, which covers the average daily commute without the fuel tank being involved at all. Hit a long drive and the petrol engine joins in seamlessly, stretching the combined range past 800 kilometers. Range anxiety simply doesn't apply here. DC fast charging brings the battery from 10 to 80% in around 30 to 40 minutes, which is long enough to stop for a meal and short enough that you're not rearranging your entire schedule around it. The powertrain closes every objection before you've finished making it. And the off-road setup? That one needs its own moment. Off-road capability. The Shark 6 is built on BYD's DMO platform, which stands for Dual Mode Off-Road, and it's the first time a dedicated off-road architecture has ever been used on a plug-in hybrid pickup. That's not a marketing badge. It's a design decision that changes how this truck actually behaves when the road runs out. Cell-to-chassis construction integrates the battery directly into the frame rather than bolting a pack somewhere underneath, which lowers the center of gravity and increases torsional rigidity in a way that keeps the truck settled and stable on rough terrain. Independent double wishbone suspension front and rear absorbs hits without passing them into the cabin. Intelligent terrain modes for mud, sand, and snow aren't just labels on a dial. The system actively reads conditions under the wheels and adjusts torque distribution, traction thresholds, and power delivery in real time. Ground clearance sits at 230 millimeters, and because the electric motors deliver instant torque at any throttle position, low-speed off-road crawling is genuinely where this setup excels. Diesel engines need revs before they pull properly. The Shark 6 just pulls from the first millimeter of throttle travel at any speed, on any surface. You could drive to a trailhead in complete EV silence, flip a terrain mode, and handle conditions that have a traditional diesel pickup working considerably harder. This is off-road credibility that was built into the platform, not bolted on as an afterthought. Practicality and daily life, right? So can you actually live with this thing every single day? Comfortably, and without giving anything up. It seats 5 in a proper double cab layout. 2 adults fit in the rear for long journeys without anyone developing strong opinions about the journey. The flat battery-influenced floor makes the cabin feel more spacious than the footprint suggests, and wide rear door openings make getting in and out easy. Generously sized windows mean the cabin doesn't feel like a vault. Everyone back there gets vents, charging ports, and storage without having to ask. For work use, towing capacity of 2,500 kilograms puts the Shark directly in the conversation with the Hilux and Ranger for serious hauling. Payload sits around 790 kilograms. The bed comes with tie-down hooks, integrated steps, and bed rail attachment points as standard, and folding the rear seats opens a flat path through the cabin for larger items that a traditional tunnel floor would make awkward. Then there's V2L, vehicle-to-load functionality. Plug power tools, a fridge, or appliances directly into the truck's battery while you're on site or off-grid. No generator, no separate power source, just the truck doing what trucks are supposed to do, which is making the job easier. That feature is typically locked behind specialized vehicles at a significant premium. Here, it just comes with the truck. Now, all of this would be impressive at any price. At the actual price, that's where things get genuinely uncomfortable for the competition. The price. The BYD Shark 6 enters most global markets at around $36,000 to $45,000 US, depending on the trim and region. In Pakistan, it's officially available starting at 19,950,000 Pakistani rupees. And the second you hold those numbers up against everything else in the segment, things stop being comfortable for anyone competing against it. A loaded Ford Ranger with comparable tech sits at or above the Shark's entry price. An F-150 hybrid with similar power output runs $70,000 to $90,000 US. A Rivian R1T starts north of $70,000. Every one of those arrives with less combined horsepower, no electric primary drivetrain, interiors that can't match this cabin, and a range dependency the Shark 6 simply doesn't have. What makes this pricing hit differently is that you're not buying a budget truck that feels like one when you sit inside it. You're getting 436 horsepower, 800 kilometers of combined range, a rotating screen premium interior, a dedicated off-road platform, V2L capability, and over-the-air updates for what someone would spend on a mid-range pickup with none of those things. That's not a small gap. That's a category-defining argument happening happening in plain sight. More than 18,000 inquiries arrived within the first month after the reveal. Dealerships across Latin America are already processing import paperwork before the first shipment even lands. The market isn't sitting around waiting for the legacy brands to catch up, but before you're completely sold, there's a conversation worth having. The real talk. The Shark 6 is genuinely impressive, and that's exactly why being straight about the unknowns matters here. Long-term reliability is the honest, open question. BYD doesn't have 10 years of ownership data on this specific platform across extreme climates, consistent heavy loads, and real-world hybrid system wear. How the battery performs after thousands of charge cycles, how the dual-motor system holds up after years of serious towing, how the software handles edge cases out in the field, all of that still needs time to prove itself. Toyota's Hilux has decades of exactly that proof already. That gap is real, especially if this truck is going into serious daily work use where downtime costs money. The service network outside China is still developing. Warranty coverage is one thing, but accessibility is another entirely. If something needs attention in a market where BYD's infrastructure is still being established, getting the right parts or a trained technician could turn into a process you weren't budgeting for. And those headline range figures need honest context. The 100-kilometer electric range and 800-kilometer combined are ideal conditions numbers. Real driving with a full payload, cold temperatures, or sustained highway speeds lands closer to 60 to 70 kilometers of practical EV range and around 600 to 650 kilometers combined in mixed conditions. Still genuinely competitive in the segment. Just worth knowing before the poster numbers become the reason you signed anything. The Shark 6 is a serious truck. It just hasn't had to prove that over years yet, and that distinction is worth keeping in mind.